All right, Alfred Teleferro, Mr. Teleferro TV. Let's get into it. The NBA All-Star reserves are announced. And before I give you the names, I just want to give you my opinions on the All-Star game. The coaches vote the reserves in, and let's just say this. They picked up the absolute ignorance of what the fans did, all right? The coaches picked up what the fans almost ruined with this All-Star game. Keep in mind, if the fans had it their way, yes, Zaza Pachulia would be an all-star starter. If the fans had it there, because of the fans, Russell Westbrook is not a starter. So the fans almost messed a lot of things up. Because of the fans, Kyrie Irving is starting over this guy right here. The first guy off the bench. First, let me name the starters again. For the Eastern Conference, we have Kyrie Irving, DeMar DeRozan, Jimmy Butler, LeBron James, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And the first guy, a no-brainer here, a guy I believe is playing MVP like basketball for the Boston Celtics, Isaiah Thomas. Now, Isaiah Thomas has been somebody who's been, he's elevated his game exponentially this season. A lot of people said he was undersized. He would never be a guy that you can build a team around. And I think he's proven everybody wrong this season. The Boston Celtics are rolling. He's averaging 29.6.2 assists a game. And it looks like these guys are primed to get a number 3 or number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, which what we thought going into the season. So Isaiah Thomas, no-brainer. If I be honest with you, I have him on my MVP list. To me, definitely top 3 in that list for MVPs. All right, another guy that's making this game, we got John Wall, another point guard who's playing magnificent basketball as of late. The Washington Wizards got off to a rough start, but John Wall picked up his play, and everybody around Washington has kind of fallen in line after him. And hey, man, look at these Wizards, man. They're gonna be a tough out in the playoffs, and it's got to be behind their point guard John Wall. John Wall averaging 20 points, 10 assists. The only guy in the Eastern Conference averaging 20 points and 10 assists. So it's rightfully so that he's in the All-Star game. Actually, 23 points, actually, to be exact. Let me put some respect on his name and his stats. John Wall makes the game. I'm cool with that. Kyle Lowry, the Toronto Raptors point guard, giving them 2 guys again, DeMar DeRozan in the starting lineup. He makes the game. Kyle Lowry, I believe, rightfully so. The Toronto Raptors are number 2 in the Eastern Conference. Generally speaking, when you're number 1, number 2, you deserve at least 2 guys in the All-Star game. And I think Kyle Lowry, what he's doing with Toronto this season, I think he deserves a nod. I'm okay with that. There's nothing wrong about Kyle Lowry making this game, averaging 22.7 assists, about 5 rebounds a game. I'm cool with Kyle Lowry making this game. Another point guard, man. It's so guard heavy. The first 4 guys I'm announced have been guards. Kemba Walker, first time, I believe, making his All-Star game. Definitely won't be the last. The guy's crossover is absolutely insane. Charlotte's trying to make their way into a playoff run. Kemba has absolutely been fantastic this season. And, hey, if it were all on him, Charlotte would be in the playoffs comfortably. But because it's not, they're gonna struggle to make the playoffs, but I don't think that's Kemba Walker's fault. He's absolutely tremendous. Shooting the ball, getting his own shot, getting his look, averaging 23 points, averaging about, 5.5 assists, 4 rebounds. It's not Kemba Walker's fault that this team has struggled throughout the season. But they're playing a little bit better of late. He makes it to the All-Star game. Up next, the guy that I had a question mark about, Paul George, all right? Now, I love Paul George's game. I'm a big fan of Paul George. But I'm not a big fan of this Indiana Pacers team. I'm not going to lie. I thought these guys can compete for a top 4 seed going into the season. They have not did that so far. But, hey, there's a whole second half of the season, and things can't turn around for this team. But, Paul George is averaging 22 and 6. But to me, it's not a statement 22 and 6 for me. I don't know if I feel like he's taking a step backwards, but I thought with this team, with this unit, this team will have it together so far this season, and I just don't believe that's the case. So Paul George makes it. I'm not going to say he didn't deserve to make it, but if there was one guy I would say that needed to go on this list, he would be one of those guys I could go without. But to be fair, there's nobody I just think that he's snubbed, right? Another guy in the Eastern Conference averaging 21 points, 10, 12 rebounds, Kevin Love. again, when you're the number one team in the Eastern Conference, you deserve two or three guys in the game. He joins his teammates Kyrie Irving and LeBron James, of course, in the All-Star game, and I am fine with that. Kevin Love, this is clearly his best season since he's been in Cleveland. The only thing about Kevin Love is staying healthy throughout the season to deserve this All-Star nod, but he's played enough games and he's been productive enough to deserve the nod. And last but not least, a guy that some people had question marks about, that would be out of Atlanta, Paul Millsap. Again, Atlanta's one of those teams that they're always there. They're always competing for a 4, 5, or 6 seed. And this season is no different. A lot of people thought because they got rid of Al Horford and he went to Boston, or they lost Al Horford and other things have happened and transpired. They lost Jeff Teague in the offseason. A lot of people thought this team would take a 2, 3 steps backwards, but somebody had to put up the points. And I'm not sure if Paul Millsap deserves an All-Star nod, but I mean, hey, they're a top 4, top 5 seed right now in the Eastern Conference. Somebody had to get in right, and somebody has to put up those points. Career Paul Millsap's a 14 and 7 and a half rebound guy this season. He's averaging 18 points, 8 rebounds, so he's increased his stats. And hey, man, if anybody for Atlanta had to get in, I'm cool with it being Paul Millsap over Dwight Howard and Shooter. Now, we can talk about some guys that a lot of people believe got snubbed. I'm actually pretty cool on the list. One guy, Joel Embiid, a lot of people were high on. Let's just be honest about Joel Embiid. He hasn't played enough games. He's not playing back-to-back games right now. And honestly, even though he has Philly energized, I think for you to be an all-star, you just got to be a little bit more consistent. And I'm okay with him not making this team. Other than that, I don't really see any snubs that just stand out to me. A lot of people thought maybe Derrick Rose or Carmelo Anthony could have gotten into the game. But right now, the Knicks are not in the playoffs. And if you look at how the All-Star reserves are did this year, and I like this, the coaches voted in teams, and they are rewarded teams who are in the playoffs, all right? Every team in the playoffs right now has somebody in, all right? Milwaukee has Giannis Antetokounmpo in. Andre Drummond is a guy who a lot of people believe he got snubbed because of his statistics are always off the chain. And a lot of people believe he got snubbed. I don't believe that is the case. This Detroit Pistons team is 21 and 25. They could definitely be better than that. Drummond's averaging 14 points and 13 rebounds. They could be better than what they are now. They got too much talent on this team to not make the playoffs, so I'm not going to just get overly upset about that. I think the coaches got the Eastern Conference right. Miami's struggling this year. They don't deserve anybody. Whiteside's got to get this team to more wins if he wants a playoff spot. Of course, Brooklyn doesn't deserve anybody. Orlando's struggling. They don't deserve anybody. The only person that I think had a case maybe and is Joel Embiid. And with that being said, Joel Embiid has to play more games. So maybe next year when he's playing games at a more consistent rate and not having to sit out every couple of nights. Let's go over to the Western Conference now. Let's go ahead and name those starters again for those who don't remember. Steph Curry, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and Anthony Davis are the starters. Let's give out the reserves. Like Isaiah Thomas, this was obviously the no-brainer for me. I believe this guy should have been starting, just like I believe Isaiah Thomas should have been starting. This is the one that the fans got wrong and messed up completely. But let's go ahead and get into him. Russell Westbrook. I mean, the guy's averaging a triple-double. As of tonight, the guy went for 45 points against Dallas. He's averaging 30 points, technically about 31 points if you want to round up, 10.7 rebounds and 10.4 assists. We thought going into the season that the thing that would stop him from getting a triple-double would be the rebound since he's a point guard, right? Well, it looks like the assists are going to be the thing that he's kind of hampering over, and we're going to see if he's going to be able to keep up the 10.4 assists that he's currently in. Nobody's averaged a triple-double since the Big O back in, the 80s. The fact that Russell Westbrook, we are about to touch February, and this guy's still going to be averaging a triple-double is absolutely remarkable. He looks like he's going to do this. I mean, the OKC Thunder are right now in playoff contention right now. If the playoffs started today, the OKC Thunder would be 6th, and they would be battling against the Houston Rockets. Not a bad matchup for his team, a team that's played Houston well so far. So, I mean, you got to give it up to Russell Westbrook. He was the clear-cut no-brainer, just like Isaiah Thomas. Another guy that was a no-brainer in my opinion. Again, when you're the Western Conference champions and you're number one in your conference, you deserve 3-4 guys in. And this is the number 3 guy for the Golden State Warriors and Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson enters the game. I mean, Klay Thompson is having a good season, and compared to what he has to deal with, a lot of people need the basketball in Golden State, but Klay Thompson is making his. He's getting his, and he's actually averaging the most field goal attempts on this team. So go figure that. A team that has Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, they're not even getting the most shots up a game. Klay Thompson is averaging 21 points, 3.8 rebounds, and about 2 assists. I would like to see his assists go up. I thought Klay struggled a little bit adjusting to Kevin Durant be there. He's usually trying to get his own shot. I would like to see his assists go up. And I haven't seen some of the clamp down defender that I've seen in Klay Thompson in the past. I would like to see that. A lot of people consider him the best two-way player in the game. Well, Kawhi Leonard's doing it on both ends of the court every night, so I don't know about that. But he deserves an all-star spot. First-timer. Shout out to this guy right here of the Utah Jazz. We have Gordon Hayward. A lot of people believe that there were other guys that could have got in over Gordon Hayward, but I don't believe that. I think this was the right guy. I think Utah deserves somebody. Again, the coaches rewarded winners, and Gordon Hayward is on a team that's number 5th in the Western Conference right now at 29-18. Somebody had to get in, and I'm perfectly fine with that guy being Gordon Hayward. His stats, I mean, he's been putting up the stats. He's averaging 21.8 points a game. A lot of people believe Rudy Gobert was the guy that should have got in for this team, but I'm cool with it being Gordon Hayward. Rudy Gobert is averaging 12.8 points, 12.6 rebounds. I think Utah could have got 2 guys in. I think the guy that should have been – we'll get to Rudy Gobert in a second, all right? Another Golden State Warrior to get in the game is Draymond Green. I mean, you could sleep on what Draymond Green is doing for this team. It gets overlooked night to night because he's not going to lead this team in points. He's not going to lead this team in field goal percentage or something like that. But what Draymond Green brings to this Golden State Warriors team, all right, check this out. He's leading the team in rebounds, assists, and steals. Don't ever sleep on the effort that Draymond Green is giving this game of basketball, and he's right behind Kevin Durant in blocks per game right now. He's doing a lot for this team while managing to average 10.7 points a game. People sleep that he's close to averaging a triple-double in his own right, all right? It's just not – he's not averaging it like Russell Westbrook and James Harden is close to doing. Draymond Green still having another incredible season. I mean, the guy is absolutely a glue piece for this Golden State Warriors team. I don't know where this team would be without him. He covers so many holes in this defense, and this attitude that he brings to this team is something that I believe they need, that toughness and that edge. And Draymond Green deserves to be in. So that's 4 guys for the Golden State Warriors. Next on my list, out of Sacramento Kings, DeMarcus Cousins. Now, you look at DeMarcus Cousins' stats, and if you didn't know his game, if you didn't know his personality, if you didn't know what team he played for in the NBA, you'd be like, hell yeah, he deserves to be in the game. He's averaging 28 points, 10 rebounds, 4.4 assists, and a block and a half a game. What's the question mark? What's the problem? In my Will Smith voice. Well, if you realize that he did it on a team that hasn't been relevant since he got there, then maybe you reconsider, right? The thing about Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins is that they're putting up these great stats, but their teams are trash. 18-27. Even though they're bad, they're only 2 games out of that number 8 seed that Denver currently holds in the Western Conference. And they're really, if you look at these teams, if you look at number 7 in the Western Conference, Memphis is 27-20, and number 8 is Denver at 20-25. So really, you think about it, Denver, Portland, Sacramento, New Orleans, and Minnesota are all competing for one spot essentially in the playoffs right now. So hey, I understand that you had to put DeMarcus Cousins in. I don't think it's a snub to anybody. I think he deserves to be in because you got to think a team like Houston and OKC, though their records are like 3rd and 6th in the Western Conference, they only have 1 guy getting in. So that opens up spots for a couple bad teams more than what you have in the Eastern Conference. So DeMarcus Cousins gets in despite putting up stats for a bad team. Another guy that got in, but he's actually putting on stats to a pretty good team. Shout out to my hometown. Shout out to the Memphis Grizzlies. Marc Gasol got in. I'm okay with that. Marc Gasol. Again, the Grizzlies need somebody. The coaches awarded winners. The Grizzlies are 27-20. They're competing for that, for pretty much from 7 on up to 5 or 4 in the Western Conference. And Mike Conley has been injured. Zebo doesn't start a lot of the games. Somebody deserves the reward, and why not reward the guy? He put up 40 the other night, and the guy that's averaging 20 points a game, and Marc Gasol. His rebounds are kind of low at 6 rebounds a game, but assists are at 4.2, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with what Marc Gasol is doing. More of a finesse, but still tough big man. And again, somebody from Memphis had to make this roster, and Marc Gasol is definitely our leader. When he's out of the game, when he's not playing, this Memphis team is just not the same. So I believe he's the most influential piece to the team. And last but not least, his first time making the All-Star game. A lot of people believe he should have got in last year. DeAndre Jordan. Now, I'm going to preface my comments like this. Chris Paul is injured, so that's why he's probably not in the game, not getting voted in. And I'm going to say this. I think DeAndre Jordan year was last year. I'm okay with him making it this year, but I'm going to be honest with you, man. I just think Karl Anthony Towns is having a better year than DeAndre Jordan, and it's clear. Like, DeAndre Jordan, don't get me wrong, great guy, putting up great stats from a rebounding standpoint. But I just don't know if I can call a guy an all-star if he can't make a basket from outside of 6 feet. All right? And you talk about some of the people that he got in over. Again, Karl Anthony Towns, who I think is having an absolute incredible season, even though his Minnesota team is struggling. DeMarcus Cousins got in. I'm just saying, Karl Anthony Towns is averaging 22 points and 12 rebounds. I think Karl Anthony Towns has the biggest case of being snubbed, and if anybody has a case. He's getting penalized because his team is garbage, but that is not Karl Anthony Towns' fault. I'll just say this about DeAndre Jordan. I think last year was the year that I thought he got snubbed. This year, I get why he got in. Again, the Clippers are a top 4, top 5 seed. Somebody has to get in. They've dealt with a lot of injuries, and DeAndre Jordan has been the most consistent player on this team. He's averaging 15. What is he averaging? 14 rebounds and 12.5 points a game. I get it. But if I look at Karl Anthony Towns and I look at DeAndre Jordan, I just think Karl Anthony Towns is more impactful in the game than DeAndre Jordan is. And I think Rudy Gobert is too. I think Rudy Gobert out of Utah, I said I'll bring this back. I think he's just more, I watch Utah play. I just think that Rudy Gobert is more impactful to a game than DeAndre Jordan is. All right? He can catch a lob, but is he really, really making an impact on defense? I get it. The guy's good. The guy is athletic. He averaged 1.8 blocks a game, but is he really making an impact? He can't make free throws. Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert are better free throw shooters than him. I mean, a lot of nights you can't keep DeAndre Jordan on the court because he can't make free throws. And I mean, you can't even let him get fouled. You can't even keep him in the late game situations. I don't know if I can consider that an all-star. A guy that can't make a shot from outside of 5 feet in the paint. He only makes dunks. And I don't know if he's an all-star, especially this year. So those are the All-Stars. Again, the All-Star game is in a few weeks in New Orleans. I might be heading out that way. So if y'all want to see me do a vlog out there, comment your responses. Again, I'm Alfred Teleferro, Mr. Teleferro TV. My website is MrTeleferro.com. It's MrT.com. Relaunches March 1st. And we just announced the NBA All-Star Reserves. Tell me what you think. I just gave you my opinions. Thank y'all for the time, love, and support. Salute. I'm out. If you're looking to book me for an interview video or by phone, if you're looking to have your music or your skill featured on my daily podcast, if you're looking to book me for a speaking engagement to help motivate some kids, if you're looking to have me rock some of your clothing to help promote your brand, make sure you hit me up at booking@MrTeleferro.com. Again, that's booking@MrTeleferro.com.